and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, everyone. The records show that all members of the City Council are present this evening. A copy of the Open Meetings Act is posted in the meeting room and is accessible to members of the public at any time during the course of this meeting. First item on the agenda is the consent agenda. All items under the consent agenda are considered to be routine by the City Council and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a council member or citizen so requests. Consent agenda is as follows. Item A, approve agenda as submitted. Item B, receive and place on file all notices pertaining to this meeting. Item C, receive and place on file all materials having any bearing on this meeting. Item D, approval of minutes of regular meeting on May 21st, 2018, as on file in the City Clerk's office. Item E, approval of Treasurer's report of claims in the amount of $156,844.93. Item F, approval of Boswa report of claims in the amount of $3,689.96. Item G, approval of special designated license for Main Street, Beatrice for a beer garden in the parking lot at 120 North 6th Street, Beatrice, on June 23, 2018, from 3 p.m. until 12 a.m. for the annual Rib Fest fundraiser, and permission to use a portion of the city right-of-way along the sidewalk of said parking lot. And item H, resolution number 6227, granting permission to the Beatrice High School class of 1958 to serve alcoholic beverages in the Carnegie Building on Saturday, June 9th, 2018, from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. Any member of the City Council want any item removed from the consent agenda? Dwight?
G and H, please.
Anyone else? All right. Mr. Catlin?
Mayor, I would move that all the items listed under the consent agenda, with the exception of items G and H, be approved, accepted, and/or ratified as presented.
Second.
By Catlin, seconded by Claybaugh. That items listed on the consent agenda be approved with the exceptions of item G and H. Your vote, please. That is approved 8-0. Go back to item G.
Mayor, I would move that for the approval of special designated license for Main Street Beatrice for a beer garden in the parking lot at 120 North 6th Street on June 23rd, 2018, from 3 p.m. until 12 a.m. for the annual Rib Fest fundraiser, and permission to use a portion of city right-of-way along the sidewalk of said parking lot be approved, accepted, and/or ratified as presented.
Second.
Moved by Catlin, seconded by Billsbach, that the approval of the special designated license for Main Street be approved. Mr. Party?
I didn't want to discuss it. I just want to vote against it.
Okay.
I've discussed it over the years enough that
Any other comments?
Gotta like the consistency.
All right, your vote, please. That is approved 7-1 with Councilman Party voting no. Item
Mayor, I would
H.
move that resolution number 6227, granting permission to the Beatrice High School class of 1958 to serve alcohol beverages in the Carnegie Building on Saturday, June 9th, 2018, from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. be approved, accepted, and ratified as presented.
Second.
Moved by Catlin, seconded by Morgan, that resolution number 6227 be granted. Mr. Party?
just want to vote no again.
Any other comments, questions? And your vote, please. And that is approved 6-2 with Councilmans Kerr and Party voting no.
Yeah. I guess I could have voted against it too.
All right, next item on the agenda is resolution number 6228, declaring the official intent of the City of Beatrice, Nebraska to reimburse itself for expenditures made in connection with the acquisition of architectural services for the proposed new fire station and related matters.
Mayor, I would move that resolution number 6228 be passed and adopted.
Second.
Moved by Catlin, seconded by Billsbach, that resolution number 6228 be passed and adopted. Discussion?
What we have before you is a reimbursement resolution. The next resolution on the agenda tonight is a resolution to hire an architectural firm to begin a schematic design of a fire and rescue building that we've talked about at the upcoming election. As you guys are aware, we've done reimbursement resolutions in the past. This allows us to incur some costs today. If bonds are issued in the future, you can use bond proceeds to reimburse the city for the expenditure of the architectural fees that will incur as part of the services on the next resolution. They could be either as the bonds that are issued as part of the fire station itself, or they could be public safety debt that we issue every couple of years. There's obviously some time limits in there, but this just gives us some options and some flexibility. That's why we recommend approving the reimbursement resolution tonight prior to entering into the agreement for schematic design.
Ted?
I don't have a problem with it. I'm going to vote for it. I just thought this would be a good opportunity to have you let the community know what the scope of this is. So this part of it, does it cover strictly design? Does it cover site, what we'll need for site prep once we have, or does it pick site? Does it help pick the location? I mean, here's your chance to give the community an overview of what we're doing.
Good. I would probably wait till we get to the next resolution,
Well, okay.
because
Yeah,
that one
I got
we
you.
actually hire and they have the scope of service in that contract.
Okay.
Any other questions, comments? Gentlemen, your vote, please. That is approved 8-0. Resolution number 6228 has been approved. Item B of that same category is resolution number 6229, entering into an agreement for professional services with JEO Consulting Group, Inc. to provide programming and schematic design services for a possible fire station.
Mayor, I would move that resolution number 6229 be passed and adopted.
Second.
Moved by Catlin, seconded by Morgan, that resolution number 6229 be passed and adopted. Okay.
So if you
Finishing
guys
up.
recall, one of the things we talked about is building a new fire and rescue station. As we've kind of walked through that process, one of the things we've come up with is we needed some schematic designs or some drawings, some help from an architect to help us understand the size and scope of the project we're looking at. The city issued an RFP. We received 8 responses to our RFP. Our committee then went through, reviewed those, narrowed it down to 2, conducted interviews here 10 days ago or so, interviewed those last 2 firms, and it's the committee's recommendation that we hire JEO for the schematic design. If you read through their proposal, what you'll see is it includes several items. Kind of the key ones are they'll review the programming information. Programming information is essentially what rooms do you need in your building and at what sizes. So in a fire and rescue building, how big does the apparatus bay need to be? How big do the dorms need to be? How many of them do you need to have? And those are the types of things that the program review. In our RFP, we had some educated guesses of what we thought we needed and how big they would be, but JEO will come back down, they'll review what we had in our proposal, and make some recommendations as to different sizes or ways they can kind of change those programming structures. The second thing is site evaluation. So they will help us look at various sites and determine which sites are best for a new fire and rescue station as we move forward in this endeavor. The third thing is they'll help us research potential funding options. There are different grants or low-income loans, things like that, that we can look at to help us with funding options. JEO will help us look through those and see what works best for us. The fourth thing they'll provide for us is an opinion of cost. That's very important to us. Obviously, we want to, if we do go forward with a bond issue, we want to make sure that it is of the right size as we present that to the voters in November. And they'll help us develop that cost, both internally and external. They have ways to estimate cost. And the fifth thing is we'll actually come up with a schematic design. That is not full-blown architectural plans of how to build the building, but it'll be a very good idea and representation of the building itself, sizes, kind of the flow, how it will fit, those types of things. They'll give us a very good idea that we can present to the voters in November of how the building would ultimately end up looking. You'll see the fee for their services is $29,500. They're to be completed by September 21st of this year. ultimately, once it comes back to us, again, there will be a vote by city council to put this bond issue on the agenda, on the ballot in November, and then ultimately a vote by the citizens themselves if we decide to move forward with a fire and rescue station. Questions on the scope of services by JEO?
Rich?
What are they preparing? Is this a standalone building?
That's part of their process they're going to go through. They're going to look at, see, what do you need? And then they're going to look at various sites and see what works, what doesn't work.
Are they also going to do the one with the addition to the auditorium?
I believe that, I mean, it can be one of the sites that we have them look at, yes.
And they can look at all of those and give us the cost of all those in that 29,000, correct?
Yes.
Well, I would like to see the one for the addition to the auditorium be included in that. Because I looked at that plan that the college did, and I really liked that, and I think it would be a lower dollar because we own the property, that, so we wouldn't have the cost of buying more property. And I think that would be more palatable to the taxpayers if we are using property that we already own, trying to keep the cost down and show them, because we do need a new fire hall, there's no doubt. We need more room. But I think with everything going on, if we want to pass this thing, we better show the public that we're going to do this as economically as we can. So I would like that brought into to this.
Any other comments? Questions? Anyone from the public?
I think one thing I'd note on Ted's question earlier, the cost that you get back from JEO will not include site prep, will not include site acquisition if there are any costs. It will not include environmental. We are working other avenues at various sites to see what those costs would be. Their cost estimate will be for construction of the building itself.
Okay. Gentlemen, your vote, please. That is approved 8-0. Resolution number 6229 has been passed and adopted. Next item is item 5, ordinances. Ordinance adding section 23-4 to the Beatrice City Code regarding right-of-way landscaping.
Mayor, I would move that said ordinance be given number 18-010. The title therefore be approved. The rules be suspended and said ordinance be read by number only 3 times tonight.
Second.
Moved by Catlin, seconded by Party, that the ordinance be given number 18-010. The title thereof approved, rules suspended, and said ordinance be read by number only 3 times tonight. Motion to suspend the rules is not debatable. Your vote, please. That is approved 8-0. Ordinance number 18-010 by number the first time. Ordinance number 18-010 by number the second time. And ordinance number 18-010 by number the third and final time.
Mayor, I would move that ordinance number 18-010 be passed and approved.
Second.
By Catlin, seconded by Billsbach, that ordinance number 18-010 be passed and approved. Tobias?
I'm going to turn this one over to Abby.
Abby.
Yeah. This ordinance is exactly what it sounds like. It talks about the landscaping and the right-of-way. It really just kind of puts into words what the general practice is today anyways. It establishes that generally the right-of-way should be grass, plants, something living. If someone wishes to put some non-living material, rock, gravel, mulch, they've just got to talk to the city engineer about that. And if the city engineer approves that, then they need to put a barrier around the gravel or mulch, whichever it is, just because it's an issue, depending on the location, it's an issue sometimes of all that kind of making its way into the sidewalk and the streets. And I guess it's just more like a visual thing. Looks a lot nicer to have some greenery as opposed to just concrete jungle.
Probably the best example is the new Taco John's. If you've seen what that looks like, we were able through that process to help convince them to put some green grass in. I think that's a good example of what you see there is what we're trying to help get some greenery throughout that area. When you're looking at places of why they have the barrier, I think I'd have you look across the street at Dairy Queen. They've got some rock there near the sidewalk that always kind of spills over and ends up in the street and the sidewalk. Obviously, on the sidewalk, you have some ADA issues now, people trying to walk past that, and so that's why you have the barrier there to try to keep those types of materials in.
White?
I have a couple questions, Abby.
What's that?
Is this meant to take the place and also to say when you build new sidewalks, they have to be a ways from the street? Because we had talked about that a few years back.
I can tell you that James would, if he had his preference, would push sidewalks as far back as possible off the street.
If someone just builds it, or just breaking the ordinance, and they just put a sidewalk right along the street side?
No,
My house sits that way, and my sidewalk is connected to the street. So therefore, am I going to be breaking the law if I rebuilt it?
no, not if you rebuilt it. You're not gonna, I mean, if you put in a new sidewalk in, I don't know that we would issue you the encroachment permit necessary to put it curbside. What we find with curbside sidewalks is once the curb breaks or the sidewalk settles, they never match up. And you replace one, you replace the other. We've run into that around town. We've got a number of places where quite honestly, we need to fix curb, but we don't know how to adjust the sidewalk issue. But that would be done through an encroachment permit.
So in effect, then all new sidewalks will be set back a ways then?
I think most every sidewalk nowadays that's built is at least set back at least a minimum 4 feet, if not further.
What about my driveway? Concrete connects to the street. Oh,
Yeah, it says except for necessary surfacing of streets, sidewalks, and driveways.
I know what he was building, but I moved by it.
Any other questions? Anyone from the audience? Gentlemen, your vote, please. That is approved 8-0. Ordinance number 18-010 has been passed and adopted. Next item is an ordinance section 5-60 through 5-75 to the Beatrice City Code regarding dangerous and potentially dangerous animals.
Mayor, I would move that said ordinance be given number 18-011. The title therefore be approved, the rules be suspended, and said ordinance be read by number only 3 times tonight.
Second.
Moved by Catlin, seconded by Cook, that the ordinance be given number 18-011, the title thereof approved, the rules suspended, and the ordinance be read by number only 3 times tonight. Motion to suspend the rules is not debatable. Your vote, please. That is approved 8-0. Ordinance number 18-011 by number only the first time. Ordinance number 18-0011 by number the second time, and ordinance number 18-011 by number the third and final time.
Mayor, I would move that ordinance number 18-011 be passed and approved.
Second.
Moved by Catlin, seconded by Morgan, that the ordinance number 18-011 be passed and approved. Abby?
Yeah, this is just a revision of a current ordinance that we already have, the dangerous and potentially dangerous animals, which has been in place for several years. It doesn't really change anything that, change the way that we're doing anything. It kind of just clarifies it. We had some feedback from some of the owners that have to follow these restrictions that said it was kind of confusing the way that it was written. So just kind of reorganized it, simplified it, made it so that the registration requirements are the same for both.
Questions?
What's the difference between a dangerous and a potentially dangerous?
The potentially, the dangerous, you get that designation, I think it's if it's a serious injury.
It's the severity of the injury. I don't remember off the top of my
The
head.
aggression of the dog or
One
the
stitch
animal.
or 2 stitches, you start to move up the. I think in the last several years, we've had 2 or 3 dangerous dogs. Most of them fall in the potentially dangerous realm. That's where most of them have fallen in.
Most of them are put on probation for a while.
Yeah.
I think the only amendment that the mayor would accept at this point is to remove himself from the committee and replace it with one of you gentlemen if you would like to.
Yes, which one of you would like to do that? All right. Any other questions? And your vote, please. And that is approved 8-0. Ordinance number 18-011 has been approved. Next item is the public forum. Purpose of the public forum is for the presentation of an item by the general public to the city council for consideration at a later date. No discussion or action will be taken by the city council at this time. Is there anyone here for the does the council have anything for the public forum? The audience? All right, we'll move into discussion and reports, and it begins with item A, award of bid for Hannibal Park Ballfield Trail.
Mayor, I would move that the bid for the Hannibal Park Ball Field Trail be awarded to Lotman Carpenter Construction in the amount of $82,058.74.
Second.
By Catlin, seconded by Claybaugh, that the bid for Hannibal Park Ball Field Trail be awarded to Lotman Carpenter Construction in the amount of $82,058.74. Tobias?
This is part of the land water conservation grant that we have out at Hannibal. The entire scope of that project includes a new playground, includes a picnic shelter. This is a trail system that runs through the Hannibal area. We built a new parking lot here recently. So we're in the process of going through that grant and getting everything built out there. One of the parts in there, as we indicated, was a trail system that's going to connect one of these days when the trail from Hannibal Park to the water park gets built. It'll connect and add on to that. That part we went out for bids here recently. We received back 4 bids. All four bidders are capable of doing the work. However, our recommendation is that you do not accept the low bid, but you accept Lotman's bid. That's the recommendation from administration. We did not put this on the consent agenda because we want to make sure we had an opportunity to discuss this with you guys, let you understand where we're thinking, where we're at, and how come before you make a decision here tonight. The number one issue of why we're not recommending going with the low bid is the low bidder in this case has another project that happened last summer that has not been finalized yet with the city, and that being Ridgeview Drive. That project was paved last year. We're still in negotiations with the contractor on working out the exact number of days and amount of liquidated damages that are going on with that project. Due to those ongoing issues, that's one of the reasons why we're recommending that we go with Lotman in this matter. There'll be some questions as to, well, you awarded the low bidder Bell and Summit Street here 2 months ago. Why are you now recommending that you don't accept them on this particular project? We go back and look. Bell and Summit Street was awarded about 2 weeks after we'd gotten into negotiations, really trying to get the thing settled on Ridgeview Drive. And so it was very early in that process. Additionally, in that indication, the low bidder was lower by about $100,000 on those 2 projects. And so it was a really significant amount of money, quite honestly, probably more so than we could overlook when trying to make a recommendation to go with a different bidder. In this indication, again, now we're 2 months later. We still don't have the issue resolved on Ridgeview Drive. We're still working through that one. We'll be bringing you probably additional fees from Olson Associates, who oversaw that project. As part of this ongoing negotiations, we're incurring some additional costs there. We have talked to Nebraska Game and Park, who are the people who oversee our grant, to make sure that they did not have an issue with us awarding the bid to somebody other than low bidder. Their indications were they did not have a problem with that. Also, Lotman had put in a little bit different completion date than was initially in the bid specs. Again, the grant people indicated they did not have a problem with that either. And so with that, our recommendation is that you award the bid to Lotman for this project.
Questions? Anybody have any questions? Anyone from the audience? Gentlemen, your vote, please. That is approved 8-0. Tobias, you have anything else?
No, I do not, sir.
Our next regular scheduled city council meeting is on June 18th, 2018 at 7 o'clock, right here in these chambers. And we will have a work session on June 25th in these chambers also. Entertain a motion to adjourn.
Mayor, I would move that the meeting be adjourned at 7:23 p.m.
Second.
Moved by Catlin, seconded by Billsbach. The meeting be adjourned at 7:23 p.m. And your vote, please. And that's approved 8-0. Thank you, gentlemen.